You've most likely heard about the B-2 stealth bomber. And you might have seen our video about the HO-229. But all these planes are in the past because a new kid is in town. The B-21 Raider. Just like its father, this thing is also a stealth bomber. The same company that built a B-2 bomber, meaning Northrop Grumman, built the B-21. This thing flies at about 50,000 feet, and that's about 15,240 meters. This height is exactly the same as the B-2, but experts believe that the B-21 can fly way higher, and it could go as high as 70,000 feet. Even though B-21 is newer, it's smaller and it carries less weight. It can carry about 13.5 tons worth of bombs. But the B-2 can carry up to 20 tons. At first, Northrop Grumman wanted to make this a drone, and that means it wouldn't have a pilot. But when they realized that this thing is going to be carrying an atomic bomb, they decided not to go with the drone idea. And someone should be on board if they decide to drop an atomic bomb. The B-2 has a special paint that's black, and it makes it stealthy, but the B-21 is painted white. They didn't say the reason they chose white paint, but it's for sure more stealthy than the B-2. And you could find similar technology on the F-22 and F-35. The B-2 is not completely digital, and it has analog parts, but the B-21 is completely digital, and this allows the engineers to always have this thing upgraded when they need it to, and you could treat it like a computer update rather than a part upgrade. When they revealed the B-21, they never showed the rear of it, and they never said how many engines it has. The front is obvious, it has 2 air ducts, but you can't see the rear, and you don't know if it has 4 jet engines or 2 jet engines, or maybe something exotic. And obviously everything is classified. Since this aircraft is so classified, why did they even reveal it in the first place? The main reason is the deal that the United States has with Russia, and that deal says if you built a new bomber and want to actually use it around the world, you have to reveal it to the world. So that is the exact reason the B-21 was revealed. It's good to know that the B-2 stealth bomber is extremely expensive, and it costs about $2 billion each. So how much is the B-21? It's a little bit cheaper, and one of the main reasons is that it's smaller. It carries less weight. But one of the main reasons it's cheaper is because of the technology and the research and development that Northrop Grumman has. Each of these B-21 Raiders will cost about $692 million. So you could say it's pretty cheap compared to the B-2. It's about 1/3 of the price. The US Air Force has ordered 100 of these B-21, but no other information came out that when the plane will be exactly ready and when it's gonna take its first flight. In the year 2009, when Obama was president, the government was starting to worry about the bomber fleets they had in stock, and they believed that they didn't have any modern bombers. At that time, the B-52 was over 50 years old, and the B-1 bomber was more than 35 years old, and the B-2 was about 20 years old, and that is why they needed a new bomber. In the year 1989, when they revealed the B-2 stealth bomber, the US military ordered 132 of them, and the plan was to replace the B-52 and the B-1 bomber, but the B-2 turned out to be so expensive, and the cost of flight is so high that after 21 of these were turned into the US military, they decided to cancel the rest of them. And that means 111 of these were canceled. And also, the B-52 and the B-1 are still flying. And that's exactly why they needed a new B-2 bomber. They needed something more modern, a little cheaper, and something that allows them to retire the older ones. Just like we said, at first they wanted to make it a drone, but since it was carrying a nuclear weapon, they couldn't do that. In the year 2012, Obama signed a bill that gives a budget of $3.7 billion to build a new bomber. At that time, a lot of people complained that why are you wasting so much money? We don't need another military aircraft. We have the F-22, the F-35 is coming along. B-2, B-1, B-52, they're all flying. They have no problems. And you want to pay more for another one? But at that time, China revealed their new bomber. And after they revealed their new stealth bomber, a lot of these people kept their mouth shut after that. After the budget was signed, just like every time, they contacted 3 different companies and they told them what kind of an order they have in mind. And the order was a very modern aircraft that could replace the old ones. Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and Lockheed Martin were chosen. To do this, Boeing and Lockheed Martin partnered up to create a new bomber. But Northrop Grumman decided to go solo. This is the design that Boeing and Lockheed Martin came up, and it looks like a fighter jet craft rather than a traditional bomber we're used to. After Northrop Grumman built the B-2 bomber, they started to design a passenger aircraft that resembles the B-2 bomber, and the nickname was the Northrop Grumman 2025. The company was working on this project for a long time, but they never were ready to execute it. We already know that the government chose Northrop Grumman, and they built the B-21 Raider. But what made Northrop Grumman be chosen between the other two is that they had a lot of research in this style of aircraft. So they were very much ready to build another much more modern one. And also another reason Northrop Grumman was chosen was that the US government was kind of angry at the company Boeing, and the reason was that they had sold some tankers that had issues and they haven't figured out what the problem is. So Northrop Grumman was chosen, and they built something spectacular because they actually built something that's affordable for the US government. It's completely stealth, and because it's digital, you can upgrade it throughout the years. The B-21 was revealed, but it's not ready to use yet, and the plan is by the year 2026 or 2027, the B-21 enters service. So right now, we don't have a complete video of this thing actually flying around. First of all, they didn't even show the rear of it, and there is no footage of it flying yet. But experts believe that the era of bombers and fighter jets are over, and drones are taking it all. What do you guys think?